Hello, welcome to the Mathquarium. I'm your host, the inky mathematician, and I'm here to help you understand the difference between radians and degrees.
What is the difference between radians and degrees? Well, to understand that, let's go back a little further and think about circles. And we're thinking of circles on a coordinate plane. So imagine I go out 1 unit from the center and I make a circle of that radius. So the radius of the circle is 1. That's got a fancy name called the unit circle. Now I want you to think about some of the ways that you use the language degrees in your just ordinary everyday life. When you look around everything in a full circle, we call that a 360-degree view. Likewise, if I count up all the degrees in one complete circle, that is 360 degrees. So we're subdividing each degree as 1/360th of the circle. Radians are defined a little bit differently. So with the radian, you want to think about a complete rotation of the circle again. And remember that the circle has a circumference of 2 pi r. Now if our radius is 1, then the circumference of our circle is 2 pi times 1. Now let's extend this to any circle. Imagine we have a circle of radius, let's say r. So any number it could be. Remember, the radius is any segment that goes from the center of the circle to the end of the circle. So this cyan line right here going from the center to the end of the circle is also a radius of size r. Now I want you to imagine taking an angle between two of the radii so that the length of the arc, the length going along the edge of the circle, is also that same exact length. So whatever that length of the radius is, imagine it's some spaghetti or some string. If I were to lay it around the edge of the circle, that's also going to be the same length. The angle that makes the arc length equal to the radius is 1 radian. Hopefully you've noticed that there's a link between a whole 360 degrees can also now be called 2 pi radians. Or if you want to take half of that, 180 degrees turning around just backwards, right? 180 degrees is equal to pi radians. So if you look very careful, this distance from the x-axis up to this larger angle here, this angle is 1 radian. And this little one is a degree. It takes 360 degrees to go all the way around the circle. But for radians, it takes just a little more than 6 radians to go all the way around the circle. So their size is different. They're not interchangeable. Even though they're both talking about the measurement of an angle, they're not interchangeable. The big difference between a radian and a degree is how we're describing movement around the circle. How are we describing each 1 unit change? Are we doing it in terms of the length of the radius, or are we doing it in terms of a fraction of the circle? And that ends our discussion about the difference between radians and degrees. If you found that helpful, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next video when we discuss how to convert between radians and degrees.